And we are live. Hello, everyone. Clarissa here. I am specifically doing this live stream to come in and answer all of the questions that I typically get about study school. My goal with the live stream tonight is to give you all of the information that you need to make a decision on whether or not study school is the right fit for you and help you to like the decision you make, whether that decision is to enroll in study school or not. I want you to walk away feeling empowered with your decision, feeling like your decision makes sense for you, feeling like you're not missing out on anything, regardless of what you choose. I want you to feel certain in the decision that you make. So if you are here with me tonight and you are interested in study school, you have questions about study school, this is your opportunity to ask them. I'm going to spend a bit of time talking about study school, answering the typical questions that I get about study school, really giving you like an insight into what it's like to be a student inside of study school. If this is the first video that you're watching of mine, hello, my name is Clarissa. I am an academic life coach, have been for the past 5 years. I've worked with over 400 plus students, helping them to earn better grades and do it all with ease. I tend to work with a lot of students who are non-traditional in the sense that they've either tried college before and have failed time and time again. They are moms, they are working full-time while they're in college. They have a lot of things going on in their life that is not just school related, and they're trying to figure out how to balance it all. They're trying to figure out how to move forward even though they've failed many times before. That was my story. I went from failing out of over 7 classes, being told by my academic advisor that I was not smart enough to succeed in any type of science or medical field, to graduating a rigorous nursing program with honors while I was working 2 jobs. I took a lot of the same courses that I quote unquote wasn't smart enough for, did incredible in them, and I did that through learning, number one, how to study, because there's an actual science to it. It's not a secret. You can probably find it out on the internet, but the thing that students struggle with the most is actually sticking with it, following through. And the reason why they have a hard time with that is because they're carrying with them all of their failures and all of the expectations and the pressures that society puts on us in regards to what our educational experience needs to look like, which is why I created my program, Study School, because the philosophy that I have is we do college very different over here. We're not about that high pressure, high stress type of situation. I really want my students to feel calm, certain, self-confident, self-assured, really in control of their life while they go through college. Even when shit's hitting the fan, I want them to be cool, calm, and collected, knowing that they can handle anything that life throws them. That's what we teach over here. That's the vibe. If you're interested in that, stick around because I'm going to tell you how you can be a part of our program called Study School. So Study School is a group coaching program. What the does that mean? I'm about to tell you. Study School is for college students who want to earn better grades and do it with ease. It is literally the how-to program, how to succeed in college and life program that every college should be offering their students when they take their tuition money, because it doesn't make sense to me that they're not equipping you with the skills to not just learn how to study, do well in the classes, but also deal and handle with all the shit, the emotional shit, the life shit that comes up when you're going through college. Because it's not like when college starts, you get put into a bubble and all you focus on is school. Life's still happening. Relationships are still happening. Kids still need to be fed. Work still needs to be worked to make money. You still have relationships that you have to maintain. You also want to work on yourself. How do you balance all of that? How do you make it all work? How do you get yourself to work on things even when you're having a sad day because you broke up with your boyfriend? Like, how do you handle just life while you're also working on these goals that are supposed to make your life better? These are skills that are not being taught in educational institutions, and I think it's really messed up, because the reason why a lot of students succeed isn't because they're not smart enough, but it's because they don't have the mindset and emotional management tools that need to be taught in order to handle and survive and deal with the stresses of life. So you're going to learn tonight about Study School. That's what we're going to talk about, okay? So here is what I want to say. I'm just pulling up my notes because even though I know my program inside and out, I have mom brain really bad and I tend to forget things. So I'm just pulling it all up so that I make sure that I hit all of my points. Okay, so I'm taking a breath here just to get myself situated. Bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, so one of the things that is really important for you to understand is that it is really necessary to understand your mind and the way that it works, to understand your patterns as a student. Because even though we know better, most of you know what you should be doing, you know what you should be focusing on, you know that there are things that if you do them, get you good grades. When our stress, when our overwhelm, when our anxiety is high during the semester, our ability to choose the right thing to do is low. It's just the way the brain works. When emotions are high, intelligence is low. There is a thing in your brain called the amygdala. It is your reptile brain. It is the oldest part of our brain as human beings. It is a part of our brain that controls our fight and flight response. When we are in high stress, high anxiety, high overwhelm situations, what tends to happen throughout the semester, that part of our brain turns on. And its only job is to get ready to fight. Its only job is to get ready to prepare for whatever threat is coming at us. Sometimes that threat is an actual lion. Sometimes the threat is an exam. Either way, that part of the brain treats it the same. And when that part of the brain turns on, there's another part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex, which is located right up here. This part of the brain shuts off. This part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, is the thinking part of the brain. It's the part of the brain that makes logical decisions. It's the part of the brain that's focused on growth and evolution and your goals and all of that. When you are in high stress situations, that part of the brain does not work very well. The amygdala does. And the reason why this is important for you to understand is because when you are stressed out as a student, when you are overwhelmed as a student, when you are this type of student who is go, go, go all of the time, you're always thinking, always overanalyzing, always in this go, 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 go type of state, you are in high drive amygdala state all of the time, which means that you are not going to have access to the part of your brain that has your best interest in mind. This part of your brain is thinking about your future. It's thinking about what it is that you want. It's thinking about your goals and your dreams and your aspirations. But if you're always stressed out, this part of the brain is not functioning, which is why it's hard for you to remember things when you're studying, which is why it's hard for you to make really good decisions, because it's not on when you're stressed out. What is on when you're stressed out is your amygdala, that survival part of the brain. And all that part of the brain cares about is whatever is going to feel good and whatever is going to feel safe, which often goes in direct contradiction to what is going to get you amazing grades, graduating, and living the life of your dreams. So my program, Study School, teaches you how to hack your brain, helps you to understand how your brain learns, how your brain handles the stress responses throughout the semester so that it no longer sees studying, college assignments, and exams as a threat to your safety. Because yes, all of the bad habits that you have are just things that your brain has learned to do in order to prevent you from feeling discomfort and disappointment or anything that feels like a threat. In addition to that, because of the fact that you're understanding your brain and you're understanding how your brain causes you to quote unquote self-sabotage to really protect you from experiencing any sort of negative emotion or pain, you're going to get really familiar with what your self-sabotaging patterns are. So like cleaning when you should be studying, or watching Netflix when you're supposed to be working on your part of the group project. And you're going to, because of the fact that you're going to be aware of what your patterns are, and because you're going to understand how the brain works, and you're going to understand how that fight or flight response affects you and affects the decisions that you make, you're going to be able to refocus yourself a lot faster. You're going to be able to break those bad habits, break those bad patterns. And the thing that I love the most about the way that we've set up the program Study School and the way that we bring in emotional intelligence and somatics and really paying attention to what is going on in your body so that you can create this safety is that when you're in the process of like catching yourself in those moments where you shouldn't be doing the things that you're doing, you're not going to do it in a way where you're shaming yourself or beating yourself up first, because that's what you're already doing and it feels shitty. And it actually creates a lot of shame. And shame is a really negative emotion. And the reason why it's a really negative emotion is because shame is a compounded emotion. What that means is when you're beating yourself up because you catch yourself watching Netflix instead of doing the studying it is that you need, you feel ashamed that that's what you're doing. And then you feel bad for speaking badly about yourself. And then you feel disappointed because even though you just shamed yourself and you feel bad about it, you're still not doing anything about it. And notice how you just end up spiraling out. So it's really important that when you are going through the process of becoming a better student, when you're going through the process of changing your behaviors, changing your patterns, really stepping into the best version of yourself as a student, that you do it with a lot of grace and compassion. And that takes a lot of forgiveness work. It takes a lot of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is your ability to identify your emotions and actually process them and feel them in your body and not freak out when it's happening. And these are the tools that we teach inside of Study School along with the study skills, because it's really important. Because if you don't know how to manage your emotions, your body's going to think that shame, disappointment, embarrassment, failure are threats. And if you're in that constant state of stress, you're not going to make the best decisions as a student, which is why, like, yeah, it's great that you know how to study, but if you can't do it consistently because you're always in this high stress response, it doesn't do you any good to like know that you should be using the Cornell method of notes. This is why my program creates the results that it does for my students, because we really target the entire human being and everything that affects you as a student. Because again, it's not like school happens in a bubble. Life is still happening. Shit's still gonna hit the fan. The students who succeed are the students who are able to really handle that, right? So, you know, we think that we also often have perceptions about people making it look easy, like, oh, it's easy for them to get really good grades, or they're just like made that way, etc. And I really want to caution you guys in like perpetuating that narrative, because you're not going home with these students. You have no idea what's going on in their life. You don't really get to see the behind the scenes. And often what is happening behind the scenes when you're seeing these students who put off this perception that everything is easy is that they're really sticking to it. They're picking a study routine and tweaking it and working it until it works. They're making tough choices and tough decisions. They're in tears sometimes. It takes a lot of courage to be a really good student. You really have to put yourself out there. They're making like really big identity shifts. They're doing a lot of emotional work behind the scenes, and it's happening behind the scenes because that shit doesn't look pretty, right? It doesn't look like you have it together when you're crying and you're doubting yourself and all of these things. So of course nobody's talking about it, but this is the work that people are doing behind the scenes. And the reason why I'm openly talking about it is because the more we openly talk about it, the more we can normalize this process, the more we can normalize what it really looks like to do really well in school. Naya is in Study School, and she said that she is going to dive back into the videos and is thanking me for calming down her emotions. You are welcome, Naya. I am just seeing if there are any other comments. Okay, cool. So if there are 8 of you on right now, so if you do have questions, or if you're watching the replay and you have questions, please place them in the chat or in the comments. I will make sure to answer every question that you have in regards to Study School. So yeah, the only reason why it appears effortless is because everybody wants to look like they're smart and like it's easy. So they're not going to talk about all the things that they're doing behind the scenes, but it really is happening. Trust me, because I know what it was like. I went through the process of completely failing out of a bio major to graduating with honors. I was doing the work behind the scenes, and I was sharing it on YouTube, but it wasn't like I was telling everyone and anyone who wanted to hear all of the work that I had to do behind the scenes and like how hard it was, even though I had the tools and the skills. Because what's hard isn't the study routine. What's hard isn't creating the planner. What's hard is all the things that you have to hold that comes along with that, like the decisions that you don't really want to do, but you know it's going to help you in the future, and like doing the things that are hard and like how shitty that feels and all of that. So that's really the piece that nobody's addressing, that if we talked about more, that if we gave students the tools to actually be able to handle it all and to process things and to not crumble under the pressure, we'd have a lot more students graduating. Our socioeconomic system would be a lot differently. Like we would be living in a completely different paradigm if that was the case. And that's the reason why I'm talking about this. And that's the reason why I'm so glad that every time I have launched Study School, I've been running this program since 2018, working with students since 2016, 17, I think it was. My math may be off. But every time I am evolving and I am adding new things to the program and I am adjusting it and adapting it to the times to make sure that students are getting all the support it is that they need. When I first launched Study School, it was just study skills. And what happened was that students started to have a lot of questions about how to study, even though they had like the how-to. They had specific questions to what they were going through. So I started adding in coaching calls and answering questions and giving students feedback. And then one of the patterns that I noticed in these coaching calls is that students were having a really hard time getting out of their own way and stopping their self-sabotaging patterns, which is where the mindset piece came in, and where now the nervous system regulation work is coming in, because we really need to teach students how to create safety around the educational experience, because a lot of y'all are carrying with you educational trauma. You've had bad experiences in the past that have literally traumatized you and caused fear in you and anxiety, and you don't want to repeat those past patterns. And so you're trying to protect yourself by not putting in your full effort because you're afraid, what if I do and it doesn't work just like it didn't work before? And if you keep carrying that with you semester after semester after semester, what's going to happen is you're going to just keep repeating the same pattern over and over. So the work that we do inside of Study School, in addition to, yes, we're going to give you all the things that you need in order to study, take notes and all of that, but that's not really what's going to make the true difference. What's going to make the true difference is you like doing all of the work to forgive who you were so that you can become who it is that you want to be. Let go of that shit. Recreate new standards for yourself of how you're going to show up, and create that safety around it so that you can be consistent, so that your body doesn't freak out, your brain doesn't freak out and sabotage you. So you're going to get an entire module inside of Study School on how to build out a simple 2-hour study routine. It's called our Straight A Study Method. And the reason why we've built this out as a 2-hour study routine is that we keep our study routines really simple inside of Study School, so that you don't spend half of your semester confused, switching your study routine, wondering what is going to finally work. Instead, you're going to have study routine templates, note-taking templates, and reading guides for every single major to help you take the guesswork out of how to study, when to study, what to write in your notes, what to do during office hours. All of the guesswork of that is taken out so that you have a really simple process to follow, because when things are simple, now you have the energy to be able to hold all of the other things that are going to happen throughout the semester so that you remain calm and not stressed. You're also going to get an entire vault. It's called Mastering Your Mindset as a College Student. And in this vault, you will learn how to create motivation and persistence to achieve your goals. Even when you have days that you don't feel like studying, even when you're super overwhelmed and stressed and shit is hitting the fan in your personal life or maybe with school, This vault is going to show you how to become the student who can handle it all. The multiple assignments, all of the exams that are happening on the same day. Why is it that every professor holds their exams on the same day? You're going to learn how to handle whatever is going on in your personal life, even if it's happening in like the busiest time of the semester. You're going to be able to handle it all with ease. What I mean with ease, it's not that it's not going to feel shitty. It's not that it's going to feel comfortable. It's just, it's not going to throw you off. Like, it's not going to send you into this spiral where now you can't get out and you're depressed. What I mean by handle it all is that you're unfazed by it. All of these things could be happening and you're not making it mean that you can't be successful. You're not making it mean that now you can't have what it is that you want. You're just like, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to have in place? What support systems do I need to have in place? What is it that I need to focus on so that this part of my life feels manageable enough for me to keep going? That's what I mean by with ease. The vault, the way that this works is we work with somatics, so the body and the nervous system, through meditations, through hypnoses, journaling prompts, and emotional intelligence tools to help you stop self-sabotaging. And the way that that works, again, is by understanding how your brain works, understanding what turns on that fight or flight response, what your patterns are of freaking out, working with that to change those patterns, to interrupt those patterns, so that when you think about studying and you think about exams, instead of feeling stressed out and overwhelmed, you feel self-centered, calm, assured, certain that you're going to do well. There is this sense of like calmness to you, like, I got this. I got this. Even if the professor throws a curveball, I can figure it out. These tools help you to create that in your body. It is science. You'll learn about it in the program if you're curious about how it works. Inside of study school, you're going to get so freaking good at managing your time because I show you exactly how to create a weekly schedule and follow it consistently, even when last minute things pop up. People are asking you to do things. You forgot about a random assignment. I teach you how to catch up, how to rework things, how to still feel in control of your time even when things are crazy. It's going to help you. What I love about study school is that you pay for it one time, and you have access to it for life. What that means is semester after semester after semester, until you graduate, you are going to get the support of the program. You're going to get all the updates. You're going to get access to all of the calls so that you can learn how to motivate yourself, stick to your study routines and your schedule, deal with all the life thing that's happening while you're in college. It just makes you succeeding in college inevitable. The reason why it's lifetime access is because with every new class you take, with every new semester that comes around, new challenges are going to arise, new questions are going to arise, and I want you to be able to have the support when you need it. It doesn't make sense for me to only make this available for one semester and then take it away. I don't operate in that way. I want to make sure that my students are supported, so you get lifetime access. So until you graduate and you're done with college, you have access to it. You're going to learn everything that you need to learn to succeed. You're going to have the support because we have 24/7 Ask an Academic Life Coach tech support inside of study school. You're going to be able to, in between our weekly coaching calls, if you have questions, you can type them in and I will respond to you with exactly what you need to do, exactly what you need to focus on to quickly get yourself out of confusion, make the decisions that you need to make, take the action that you need to take, and just get things done so that you can go and live the rest of your life. Because I believe you are a human being who happens to be in college. Okay, college isn't all that you are. You are a human being first, and I want your life to feel that way. Every week, you're going to get the opportunity to receive live coaching. We call these our SOS calls, because SOS means help me, but it stands for Save Our Study Routine calls. And during these calls, how it works, let me explain to you how it works. So you are all probably familiar with Zoom now because of the reason that we went virtual with COVID and all of that. So You're going to hop on a Zoom call with me and all of the other students that are inside of the program. You're going to come on the screen. You and I will be talking on the screen face to face. And you're going to get the opportunity to get your questions answered, to get feedback, to work through practices with me to help you get unstuck. The beautiful thing about these coaching calls is even if that particular week you don't have a question or you don't have anything that you need to be coached on, by you still coming to the call, what it does is it allows you to learn how I coach students so that you can get better at coaching yourself. So that in between calls, you kind of already have an idea of how I think and how I support students, and you're already thinking that way. You are already ahead of so you're able to help yourself because you're learning how to think. That's really what I love about the program, about Study School, is that a lot of people tell you what to do, like do Cornell method of note takings or do quiz and recall, but they don't explain why it works. And if you don't understand why something works, you don't know how to think through whether or not it's going to work for your situation. So everything that I do, I always explain to you why it works, what makes it so effective, so that you learn how to think, so that when you go to take your classes, when you're going through struggles, when you have problems coming up, you can think your way to a solution and you're not always having to rely on someone else to come and save you and come and help you. That's the reason why I do things the way that I do. Let's see, what else did I want to say? So the last thing that comes with Study School is an online community for all the college students that are going through Study School. So this is where students are celebrating their wins, where you can get extra support, where you can draw inspiration and motivation from the other students who are part of the program, who are studying and getting things done with the Study School method and program. I think that this community is one of the most vital things of this program because it helps normalize everything that you're going through as a student. Again, often we feel really alone in our college experience and we think that we are the only ones struggling because no one talks about what they're going through, because everyone wants to keep it hush hush, because nobody wants to say out loud that they're struggling because of how it makes them look. Well, that's not the vibe of our community. Everybody in there is super open, sharing what they're going through, sharing how they're dealing with it, sharing how they're using the tools, the resources, the coaching calls, and all of that to really help support them. Our coaching calls happen on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I know the question that you have: what if I'm working during that time? What if I have class during that time? What if I'm in a different time zone? Please do not let that stop you. I have many students inside of my program from different countries that never attend the coaching calls live. Let me tell you why you not attending live isn't a problem. Number one, because you have the 24/7 tech support, so you can submit questions through there. But the second reason is I allow students to pre-submit questions. So if for whatever reason you can't make it live, you can pre-submit your question. I answer it on Zoom, and all of the Zoom calls are recorded. And what students often tell me is that just by rewatching the recorded Q&A sessions, those coaching calls, they learn so much about themselves through watching other students get coached. They realize things that they didn't even know were a problem that were affecting them. And they're so grateful and thankful that other students are asking these questions, but it's because it's helping them realize things about them. And they're learning so much from watching other people get coached and pre-submitting questions. So if you're going to be all in, be all in. Don't let something as small as that get in your way, because there are so many other ways that you can get support. And again, this is one of the things that my students really learn. They learn how to be resourceful, meaning that they figure it out. If they really want something for themselves, they figure out how to make it happen. They figure out how to make it work for them, because they learn how to think. They learn how to support themselves, to be their own best mentor, to be their own best friend, to really have their own back. And that is so empowering, and that just feels so good when you can trust yourself to follow through, when you can trust yourself to create everything that you want, when you can trust yourself to show up. That's what we're teaching inside of the program. So the last thing, let's see, that I wanted to address, I have notes everywhere. Let me take a look. What's the cost of study school? Okay, so study school is normally open all year round. However, we are making loads of updates to the Mindset Vault. We're adding in new meditations, new hypnoses, new emotional intelligence tools. And because of that, we're actually closing the program down for new enrollments on July 4th. It will not reopen again until August. We usually do a big launch, a big promotion of the program towards the end of August, beginning of September. What I will tell you is because of all of the updates, all of the changes that we're making to the program, the price is going up. Right now, through July 4th, through when the doors close, the price is $797. When we reopen the doors in August, it's going up by $1,000. It will be $1,797 at that point. I usually get a lot of students ask if there is a payment plan. And the answer to that is no. And the reason why, I'm going to explain, because I didn't make that decision haphazardly. I really thought this through based off of all of the patterns that I see with students. What I notice that is the biggest thing, sorry guys, that was my dad calling me. The biggest thing that affects students is they have this stop and go cycle. They have this cycle where they're super wishy-washy, where they cannot commit to anything. One week they're using the Cornell method of note-taking. The next week they're switching to mind maps. The next week they're withdrawing from this class. The next week they're switching this major. The next week they're back in the program. The next week, one week they believe in themselves. The next week they don't believe in themselves. And there's this wishy-washiness, this inability to commit, this inability to be decisive. If you want things to be different, you have to catch yourself in the pattern. And usually if the pattern is showing up in one area of your life, like your academic life, it's probably also showing up in other areas of your life. So if you have this like touch and go, wishy-washy, can't really commit to anything, I don't really fully trust myself, I'm kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, in your academic world, it's probably also showing up everywhere else. And if you want that pattern to stop, you have to stop it. So the reason why I am not offering a payment plan, even though I have had in the past, is because whenever a student has to make another monthly payment, in that moment, they have to make the decision, do I want to stay with this or not? Am I fully committed or not? And I want you to make this decision once and be all in. I want this, the moment that you make the payment to study school, to be the first representation of you changing the pattern of not being all in, because most of you are half in, half out. You're only in as long as what you're doing is working. The moment that it gets hard, the moment that you have to put in work, the moment that things start to get a little shaky, you're like, oh, I guess maybe I didn't want it that much. But then you feel disappointed because you did actually want it. You were just afraid to go all in because you didn't want to go all in and then be disappointed because you didn't show up the way that you wanted to. The way that you change that pattern is by changing the pattern and making the payment once in full, committed and being committed to being all in and making it work and doing everything and asking the questions and fully showing up for yourself is the reason why we've set it up this way. It also raises the caliber of students who are inside of the program. It raises the bar. And when you are in an environment, you know how they always say you are a representation of the 5 people that you hang around the most? This is true. I've experienced it multiple times. I experience it with my students. Once one person rises, it does something in you where now you think to yourself, wow, if it's possible for her, it's also possible for me. And we hold that standard for you. And you have no other choice but to rise. That's the reason why we are not offering the payment plans, so that you have to rise to the level, to the caliber of person it is that you want to be. We set the standard here so that you learn how to rise to meet it. I'm not lowering the bar, because if I lower the bar, you have nothing to rise to. You get to just stay the same. And that's not the vibe of this program. That's not the vibe of She Rocks at College. That's not what we stand for. So there's that question. Let's see. Another question that I get a lot is, do you look at my study routine? Do you look at my note-taking process? The answer to that is yes and no. Yes, during the coaching calls, I will help you to see the way that you're thinking. I will help you to change your perspective, change your mindset, really work on the emotional tools, and give you the next step of what to do based off of our straight A study method that I talked about earlier. And we also teach you inside of study school how to determine if what you're doing is going to work for the courses that you're taking. We teach you how to really dissect your classes and figure out what's going to work in terms of studying, in terms of note-taking for your classes. We actually have this like little algorithm type of thing that we take students through, and if you go through that, you fill it out, you're going to know exactly what it is that you need to focus on, exactly how to take your notes, exactly how to study, what to study in order to do well in that class, so that you don't always have to rely on me to tell you, is this going to be good enough or not? But you can actually look at it and evaluate it yourself to know if you're on the right track. That's what I freaking love about this program, is that it really teaches you how to think. And that's the difference between students who succeed and students who don't. It's not what they're doing, it's how they're thinking. They are different in the way that they think. When you're different in the way that you think, you're different in the way that you act. Your thoughts lead your actions. How you think about things leads your actions. What you think about yourself impacts the way that you show up. If you think you're not a good student, you don't bother studying because you don't think it matters. If you believe you're a good student, you do things that good students do. It's all in the way that you're thinking, and I teach you how to think and how to make those tweaks, and then how to get your habits and all of that in line with that. That's what the program is about. So that's really all I have to say. If you are interested in enrolling in study school, the link to enroll is sherocksatcollege.com/invited, but I will also put it in the chat. If you have any questions, you're like, I really want to enroll, but I have questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. I'm She Rocks at College on Instagram. I usually send little voice notes. I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. Really, the point of tonight was for me to give you all of the information that you needed to make an informed decision. By the end of if you watched a three-day masterclass, you know whether or not you like my methodology and my philosophy. Like, you either vibe with me or you don't. Tonight was really to help you to see, is study school going to help me? Does it make sense for what it is that I need and what it is that I want support with? Do I want to be a part of something like this? Do I want to be in Clarissa's energy? Do I want to be with other students who are in Clarissa's energy? Is what she is talking about and the way that she supports students and the way that she creates the college experience for students something that I desire and that I want? If your answer to that is yes, enroll. If you're still iffy, ask me questions. I'm never going to pressure anybody because I want you to want to be in the program and for it to make sense for where you're at. If it doesn't make sense, there's something else out there for you. I just want you to make a decision and like the decision that you make, for it to make sense for you, for it to feel good for you to walk away feeling like I'm not missing anything. I'm so glad I made this decision. That's the reason why I really host this Q&A. So before I end tonight, for the 7 of you who are on right now, do any of you have any specific questions about the program study school that you would like me to answer? If you don't, then we'll just end it here. Call it a night. I can go shower because I'm sweating bullets in this room. I'll hang on for a minute because I know sometimes there's a delay. Christ child, I am so glad that you love the masterclass and that it gave you a new perspective and how helpful it was. That means a lot. Hang on for one more minute, but it doesn't look like there are going to be any questions. All right. Have a great night, everyone. Bye.